So I got a couple clips we're gonna watch before we get to the topic, the main topic of discussion. So bear with me for a second.
Truthfully speaking, it only makes sense that it's Bronny James. Not to be redundant, but it's necessary to be that way. Bronny James doesn't belong in the NBA. Not yet.
Not yet.
I don't believe that. I believe the kid has a chance. And I think that he's going to do, I believe in him. I believe in his work ethic, his faith, et cetera, et cetera. But he's not ready yet. Which brings this back to LeBron James. We don't have to scrutinize Bronny James in terms of points per game average and all of this other stuff. Please, he's a kid. He'll come along. He'll work on his game. Hopefully, he'll earn his stripes. Respectfully, this is all LeBron's fault. It was LeBron James that told the world, sitting next to his wonderful wife, Savannah, for an interview, asked the question, what does he want for Bronny? What do they want for Bronny? She said, I just want him to be happy.
I see what you're doing, Derek.
LeBron James said, I want to play with him in the NBA. I want him in the NBA. And then, because he's LeBron James, he greased the skids and facilitated it happening, ensuring through Rich Paul that nobody would draft Bronny James before the Lakers grabbed him, because there were teams tempted to do it just to keep him away from the Lakers and LeBron. Most importantly, LeBron James was caught saying publicly that Bronny James was better than some players in the NBA. Mm. Did you think people were going to forget that? Hey. See, I'm not getting into Bronny James because none of this is Bronny James' fault.
Hey.
He's just a kid out there working hard trying to be the best that he can be.
Hey, Stephen A. didn't lie, dog. This is exactly what he said.
You know what's funny? I'm pretty sure LeBron tweeted that after a Pistons game, Achilles Hayes masterclass game. I'm pretty sure he did. I'm like 99% sure he did.
So the reason I played that clip first, and I got another one we're gonna play before we get the main one.
I see where you're going, nigga.
Oh, I know what you're talking about, man. Let me play.
I see what you're doing.
Let me play this other clip.
Better than other people in the NBA. All right.
Hey, I got a question real quick.
Yes.
So y'all always say it's a lot of plumbers in the league. Well, because he ain't no plumber.
Who?
What would his job be? Because plumbers are in a union, they're professionals. Plumbers make bread. What would Bronny be? A bag boy? What would he work at, a restaurant? What would he be, a cashier or something?
When you go out to the stands to get your
oh my God.
Get the slushies.
He'd be a concession nigga, huh? For sure. Mm-hmm. Get your hot dogs here. Get your hot dogs here.
That nigga selling cotton candy on the big ass stick and shit.
Played his most minutes.
Him at the Nassas.
Lakers lost to the 76ers 118-104. Bronny was held scoreless in 15 minutes and struggled guarding Sixers star Tyrese Maxey. Before I get to my thoughts, please take a listen to Coach J.J. Redick and what he had to say about Bronny's performance last night. Take a listen.
I maybe put him in a tough spot, flying up yesterday and, nationally televised game and Philly, all that stuff. It's
now they say the pressure.
He didn't play well, but he's been playing great. In the Stay Ready games, and he's been playing great in the G.
I was on First Take, my day job on ESPN earlier this morning, and I spoke about this, and I felt the need to elaborate even further because a couple of people text me and pissed me off, and they know who they are. People close.
This nigga crazy, dog.
Talking to me about questioning him as a father. Come on, y'all. I mean, it's gotten to a point where this LeBron sensitivity is just beyond the pale.
That's what I say.
You call him the second best player in the history of the game. You're insulting him because you said he's not the GOAT. You're saying that at age 40, we've never seen anybody do what he does, but pointing out at times how he may not have hustled back on defense in a key pivotal moment, and that's a problem. You give him all the praise in the world when he drops 40, but he has a bad night, and you say he had a bad night, and you're hating. It's ridiculous. but never before has it been more ridiculous than it is right now, because the reality is that we got to be real about what we're seeing when we talk about Bronny James. I am not a person that had a problem with Bronny James being on the court for the season opener with LeBron James. That was a phenomenal moment to see a father on the court with his son who has NBA aspirations playing together for the first time in NBA history.
Yes,
The
sir.
Griffeys in baseball, Ken Griffey Sr. and Jr. were in attendance for it. It was a special moment.
That's hard.
My position has always been that should have been the only moment we saw Bronny James in a Lakers uniform this season.
Damn.
I'm gonna stop it there. Now,
This nigga Derek Cole, dog.
so I wanted to play what these videos. I wanted to play the videos that might have gotten LeBron upset to the point to where he saw fit to do what we're about to see next.
Now let's get to a subject that's apparently gone viral on social media today, and it also involves yours truly. Last night,
Carolina's terrible.
At the Knicks-Lakers game, where during a timeout, I believe it was in the third quarter, I was confronted by none other than LeBron James himself. LeBron had some choice words for me in regards to comments I've made prior about him in regards to his son, Bronny James. Before I get any further, let me just put to bed a couple of things that have been reported that are false. People was talking about LeBron called me out my name, or somebody said he called me a bitch. Somebody said he called me a punk, and all of none of that is true. He was fiery. He approached me during the game, and he said, "Stop effing with my son. That's my effing son. Stop effing with my son." I said, "What? Nah, man, straight up, man to man. Real talk. Stop effing with my son." And I saw how furious he was. And I said, "We can talk about it later." "Nah, F that. Stop effing with my son. That's my son. That's my son." I said, "All right, dog. Fine." And he walked away. That's all he said. I knew what he was talking about. I've spoken about this before. Matter of fact, I heard that not many, not all, but a few players were upset at me about that. I think one player in particular was Draymond Green, who I haven't spoken to since and has no desire to speak to me primarily because of this, I suppose. And I found out the way that I found out, which was last night while I was at the game. I was a guest of Ari Emanuel, owner of William Morris Endeavor, founder of William Morris Endeavor, rather. Founder of Endeavor, I'm sorry, before they merged with William Morris. And I was a guest of his, sitting at the game with him and Larry David from Curb Your Enthusiasm. I was sitting courtside, and the next thing you know, out of the blue, LeBron came in my face.
He was with Larry
Obviously,
David.
since he brought up his son, he was piggybacking off of what I had said weeks ago.
All right.
Hey, Edward. Hey, Edward. Hey, you, Edward.
What up?
Shut the fuck up, bro.
Now, before we continue, before we get everybody's viewpoint on this, I want to play one last part. Hopefully, this is the part.
Silly me, I'm thinking that if you get along with people and you talk with them, if they have an issue with you, at least they'd call you and confront you man to man before something's resolved. I'm talking about Draymond here. I'm not talking about LeBron. The reason I'm not talking about LeBron is because, excuse my language, LeBron and I don't really fuck with each other.
We don't fuck with each other, nigga.
Straight like that.
It's primarily been high and by for more than a decade, and I'm fine with it, and so is she, and so is he.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, because we had a couple different perspectives in the chat.
No, so I understand I understand the pathology of what you just did, and I know why you put that first clip, right? Because so just for full context, in the group chat earlier, Edward sent a clip of that very last thing that you played of Stephen A saying that he don't fuck, or him and LeBron don't fuck with each other like that.
Right.
So we all kind of went out to see if that shit was real or not. And I was at the grocery store. I pulled my phone out, was just walking around shopping with my phone in my cart, playing that episode that you just pulled all that shit from. And as I'm listening, because I don't listen to Stephen A. Smith, I don't really listen to any sports media at all, honestly, right? But I listened to this and I was like, damn, it's a lot of things that I don't really know that happened before this, because he's saying that he did an episode talking about Bronny.
Yeah.
And then you played it. Now, it kind of changes my perspective, because my opinion before was going to be, as a father, because I said it in the group chat, I said I'd have done the same thing for my son, right?
Absolutely.
But then listening to the clip you played first and listening to that last episode that Stephen A did about this incident, it changed me a little bit, because I'm like, how are you going to thrust your son into the spotlight and you're going to trump up his charges by saying he's better than most of the niggas a lot of niggas in the NBA, or he deserved to be on the NBA. I'm not leaving it to you. So if you're going to be comfortable with this nigga getting an NBA contract and coming to play the biggest fucking game in the world, you also have to be cool with all the shit that come with it, nigga.
I agree, but Bronny's getting unfair spotlight because who's the 54th pick? Who was the 55th pick last year? Why the fuck are we talking about him? And he's playing garbage time. For the most part, he's playing in the G League. I don't understand why. The only reason why people have an opinion on him is because of his dad, which is unfortunate. But like, I can understand why, like, LeBron would even want to approach him, because there's no reason to really talk about Bronny outside of the history that happened. Like, Bronny's a non-factor.
I would be cool with your stance if LeBron didn't say the things that he said, though.
I agree too.
He should have just shut the fuck up.
I think they're both corny, but I think Stephen A is more corny.
Now, I guess what LeBron was trying to do was just hype Bronny up to make him more of a prospect.
Mm-hmm.
To ensure, you got to do what you got to do for your kids. I fuck with it, right? But it's two sides to that coin, dog. You got to be able to eat that shit. And as thick-skinned as LeBron is, you would think he would just teach his son, hey, man, let that shit roll off your shoulder, my nigga, and just play ball. Now, I don't even know if LeBron give a fuck at all. He might not, because I'm sure he hears all this stuff, but we haven't heard him say anything about it.
Yeah. But
Bron, it's just a soft spot. Niggas be having biases for the people that they love, and I can't knock a nigga for that, because if I was a basketball player and my son gets drafted behind me and they dog him out. But see, another thing about what you played, because like I said, I never seen that first thing from the Stephen A. Smith podcast that you played, where he didn't even say nothing bad. All he said was, nigga, this is not even Bronny's fault. Nigga, this is your fault. Because you should have never trumped him up like that. You should have just let well enough alone and said, hey, look, JJ Redick, what's my man's name? What's his agent name?
Rich Paul.
Rich Paul, yeah. Do y'all thing. Rich Paul, JJ Redick, get my son in here. And you should have did that on the back end. You should have did that behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And if he would have got drafted, it'd been like, nigga, we don't even got to talk about this nigga because he was the 55th pick or whatever the fuck he was. Like, who cares?
yeah.
And here's my thing too. Because Brandon, you just said you still think that Stephen A was corny for it. Why do you think he was corny for reporting on the game that he's paid to report on?
He made a career on this. This is his career. He built his name on that.
Stephen A just got a $100 million contract from ESPN and Disney.
Yeah.
They paid this dude so much money, which tells us that they obviously value what he has to say about the league.
For sure.
He didn't say that Bronny was bad. He didn't say he was trash. He could have said he was trash.
He actually said that he think he likes his work ethic and
he likes his work ethic. He think that one day he will be a star in the league.
he said not yet.
Yeah.
Not yet.
I didn't even know that.
But He's paid to report on the game, and I think people forget. That these analysts that talk about the game, they're fans first, like everybody else.
Wholeheartedly.
So
That's
what
what got them doing their job.
Exactly. So I take exception to people like LeBron coming out and saying, because you will hear LeBron say this all the time. He'll say the way they're doing my game, our game, talking about him and the rest of the players, as if nobody else can speak on the game of basketball that doesn't play professionally. Bro,
Yeah.
you do realize that media and sports media specifically plays such a major part in your
reach. Yes.
Yeah.
We can't just when we go around talking about, and they do this all the time, they go around talking about how analysts shouldn't be speaking on the game of basketball. You think you're the only one allowed to love basketball? If that's the case, then we should say then no fans, it should be no fans in the league anywhere that's not playing professional.
Well,
And then where would y'all be?
It's corny because just because it's there's LeBron, there's never like a 30-minute or however long segment about the 55th pick. That's why it's corny.
But that's the same reason why it needs to be talked about. Because why are we talking about the 55th pick at all? We're talking about it because he's LeBron's son and he forced him onto the Lakers squad.
And he been talking about this nigga for years.
Bronny and his two sons been in the spotlight for a long time. They're following in their dad's footsteps.
Sure.
Absolutely. But why wouldn't we talk about it? You're in the league. You're a part of the team.
I guarantee you Jordan's son would have went through the same shit or worse.
That's why Marcus Jordan decided, you know, I'm going to be a crackhead. You know,
I'm about to say that's why I chose cocaine.
Yeah,
that's exactly
what else can you do?
I'd just rather do coke, bro.
Yeah, fuck all
cocaine
that,
will never let me down. Well, sometimes it will, but mostly it's gonna keep me up.
When you rich doing coke, it's different when you poor doing coke, dog.
You're right.
Yeah,
right.
You're right.
You get that
That's a
100%.
fact. That's that Medellin, nigga. That Medellin.
You're right. But I saw a lot of people saying online, I'm even talking about y'all, I'm talking about the comments. I went into the comments, I often go into the comment section, and I was just going through the comments, and I'm scrolling through the comments, and people were like, Stephen A was wrong for speaking on Bronny. I'm like, this man gets paid to talk about the game.
And I got a question. I'm sorry, Everett.
No, go ahead.
Jay, you said something about if that was your son, you would do the same thing. If you saw your son was putting out an inferior product, would you still?
Oh my God!
Would you not be honest with your son and tell him you don't think this is what he should do?
But how do we know LeBron isn't?
I doubt it.
I doubt it too. But
I don't know. I'll be wondering that though. But I feel you. Like I agree with you 1,000%. Like what I was saying was like I understand the position that LeBron is in because that's his baby boy.
I understand that too. But
I understood where y'all was coming from when y'all said it because I felt the same way. If it was my son out there and I feel like he's getting jumped on by media, he's getting trashed, or I feel like there's there's been some type of exception taken. Of course, I'm gonna jump into the defense role for my son. That's my son.
I might not.
I want to defend him, but
I feel you. I feel you.
At the same token, I would not have put him in that position though.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say I wouldn't put him in the position, but I am really shocked that LeBron is being this sensitive when I'm sure LeBron knew 10, 15 years ago he wanted his son in the NBA. Nigga, you saw this coming, boy.
Absolutely, you did.
You knew they was gonna do this to this nigga because look at who you are. He not stupid. LeBron is much smarter than that. So I just don't understand why he acting like he didn't know this was coming.
And you did
here's
this
another thing.
You did this to Stephen A. You're gonna have to do this 35 more times to every other commenter and broadcaster out there as well.
Including niggas that you used to play with.
Exactly. One being Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown, who said on the bench, granted, he didn't say it nationally, but he was caught on the bench saying he's just not good.
He was talking to Andrew Reese when he said it.
So you're not ready.
What you gonna do? You gonna go walk up on Jaylen Brown? You got something for Jay? You got some heat for Jaylen Brown?
No.
It's so many other NBA fathers who got sons in the league, and their sons just striving right now. They're successful.
Yeah, some of them
but it's because
the glove.
Because his last name is James, is why he got put under all that scrutiny, like you saying, Brandon. But it's his daddy's fault. I agree. You don't fill your kids up with that false hope because you setting them up for success. You setting them up for success when you do that kind of stuff.
He was speaking specifically
for failure,
on the
I'm sorry.
position that he put him in.
Yeah, for sure. No, I'm with you.
He
I
was
don't think there's really a winner.
They both wrong, man.
Yeah, for sure.
They both wrong.
How
Both
is
of them
Stephen A. wrong? Explain.
That's his job, man. That's
Yeah. So Edward, in the group chat, you said you think they both weak as hell.
They both weak as hell because the problem is Stephen A. didn't give him any credit when he was putting up 30 in the G League. That's where he's wrong.
Who did?
He only gave nothing but negativity.
That's not true. That's not true.
It is though.
You just saw it. That's not true.
I know, but he commented on him with his lowlights. But he also did not come back up when he scored 30.
That's not you're just watching highlights, bro.
I'm not watching the highlights.
He also said, how can you say that when Stephen A. also said that he's playing and he's doing good in the G League?
That's what he just said,
and that's where he belongs. How is that how is that coming on his lowlights? That's saying where he gauges he should be playing.
Okay, let me rephrase it. He didn't go in depth in his G League. He didn't go in depth the way he went in depth with him in his numbers in the NBA versus when he doing the G League. He don't give him the same
when he on first take, he not praising him for G League accolades.
Exactly. That's the biggest
the G League probably.
Yeah, but that's the issue though. To me, that's where he's wrong. And also, I think LeBron is right because he as his son, but at the same time, your play is supposed to make people back up off you. It's a merit-based league. Like you can't be talking about he's better than a few of these NBA players. No, he's not. If it's how many people in the league? What 350?
Yeah,
something like that. He's 350 in the league. He's number 350.
You remember
I'll
when
probably take the Nationals over him.
375.
You remember when Stephen A. went viral for? You remember when Stephen A. went viral for trashing Kwame Brown?
I remember. Yeah.
Okay.
And nobody better than I.
Okay.
I agree with. Listen. I agree with you. Well, 95% of what you're saying. I'm just saying he didn't give him props. He didn't give him the detail props the way he did. He didn't go equally as hard on that end versus the other end.
I think.
But
I think
LeBron, go
Stephen
ahead.
A. should be trashing the Lakers versus Bronny or LeBron more so because that's a dumb fucking decision.
No, LeBron too because LeBron weak as hell for that.
Yeah, him too. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Don't give him no pass for that because Derek said it the best. Now you gotta do that to everybody you come across. Anybody that says anything negative about him in a sport where you get criticized. Now you do it to everybody. Do it to everybody. But no,
this just opened up the floodgates right here.
No,
this just opened up the floodgates. Everybody
exactly.
Start dogging him.
Now 520 Gills Arena. Who else? Players. Everybody going.
Hey,
now.
Hey, what Kwame Brown say about this shit? Anybody hear him say anything?
I don't know. I haven't been tapped into Kwame Brown lately, so I don't know what he said about it.
That nigga said, y'all thought I was bad, huh?
But yeah, they both weak. They both weak for that. They both weak.
I don't think so. I couldn't disagree more.
I don't think so.
I don't think Stephen A. is doing his job, bro. That's his job.
He's doing his job. Well, okay. I would say
if you came
LeBron's
to me
more weak. LeBron is more weak.
If somebody came to me and said, we're gonna give you $100 million to report on a game that you love, I'm taking that contract, and no man is gonna be able to step to me, even if his son is involved in the game, and be like, "Don't talk about my son." What?
Stephen A. was doing it before the $100 million.
Exactly. Before
he's been doing
it. Did you hear
decades?
Hey, did you hear what Stephen A. said in the beginning of that episode? Though he was like, he was going to not talk about this shit. And then he said ESPN was like, "Oh yes, the fuck you are, nigga."
We just paying you $100 million. You definitely won't be talking about it.
Yeah. So I kind of feel like that kind of was an indicator to me that he don't even really get to choose everything that he talk about, or So they probably like, yeah, nigga, you got to cover Brownie, you got to cover all this shit.
The Lakers, the Cowboys, anything that drives the most eyeballs. It's all they care about.
Yeah. And
it was Bronny 6 months ago. It's the Cowboys now. It's the Lakers now. Like that's what I talk about. Like, and that's a lot of the thing when they be like, they always talking about LeBron. They always talk about LeBron. Imagine if First Take was around when Jordan was around. What would have been going on? The same exact shit.
Yeah, same.
The
shit
same exact thing.